God bless the pugilist. I don't know if y'all can. Hold on, let me see. Do this because my toilet acting crazy, like starting to do this running thing where it keep running. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, God bless the pugilist. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. I always get their name. It is Nate. It's Nate, right? Yeah, I always get their name. It's Nate Diaz. Let me say this, right? I'm an MMA fan as well as a boxing fan. They're the only two sports that I really watch. Boxing is the sport that I really like. I watch every day, but I do follow MMA news and I do watch MMA. I don't watch it like I used to. I used to watch every UFC card when I was in my 20s. Every single one. I don't give a fuck what it is. Every single one. I used to watch every single one. I used to watch The Ultimate Fighter, all that shit. But I had all the video games, all that shit. But just it's not really. It don't pique my interest like it used to. Um, Boxing, I never stop. I've been watching boxing nonstop. So I watched Nate and Nick Diaz whole career. Um, Let me say this, right? Well, let me give my prediction first. I got Jake Paul. I don't know how far they going. I think what they going. I don't know if they going. Is this a 8-rounder? Let's see this. I think it's an 8-rounder, but I got Jake Paul really by stoppage. Um, I can't really see Nate doing nothing. Nate is older than me. Nate, 38 years old, almost a 40-year-old man. Um, I'm gonna get into my Jake Paul rant, but I ain't gonna do that now. Nate is a 38-year-old MMA fighter. Coming into boxing against this young kid, which he has really proven something. I don't want to say, well, he proven himself in the ring. He really had. He been in some fire. And I just can't really see Nate Diaz doing nothing at this advanced age with all the miles that Nate got on him. Nate got big miles on him. Nate got miles. He got miles. His mileage is ridiculous. Nate been in some knockdown, drag out fights. What? How you say that? Drag out, knockdown, something like that. Yeah. Nate been in there tough. Tough. Nate done been cut. He get cut every fight. He been rock'em sock'em roll body. He been fighting in MMA with that Mexican style. Nate looked punch drunk to me. He just do. He look punchy. He look real messy type shit. Like he just I don't know. I don't. He just looked bad. He looked horrible. It looked like it might be. I mean, is his MMA career over? Don't nobody want to see Nate no more. Nate looked through. When was Nate last fight? I don't even know. I'm not even about to look it up. Was it what's that Cuban guy name? I forgot it. But they fought him. They tried to make up a title for these guys, the baddest motherfucker title. Just a bunch of bullshit. Nate, let me say this, right? I'm saying all that. I'm throwing Nate away right now. I really am. Nate, I said he punch drunk. He looked punchy. He old. He been in some. He got miles. I threw Nate away. But I'm a fan of Nate Diaz. Nate and Nick. I'm a fan of theirs. Um, they was in some exciting fights. You know what I mean? They was in some exciting was in some exciting fights. They was at the top of the division for a while. I believe they both fought for titles. I think Nick may have even won a title in Strikeforce, if I'm not mistaken. But I know they both fought for titles. I remember seeing them in title fight. I know they both lost in the UFC, or they both something like that. But they was always in exciting fights, always skilled, high level skills. These guys are high level. They were high level skilled. They weren't just even though they did fight with that Mexican brawler style, which I hate it, to be honest with you. It make for some good fights. It make you do this. But far as being a hold on, let me do this. Far as the longevity in your career, Nah, that ain't doing nothing. That ain't you. You ain't supposed to be fighting like that. You know, I believe in that Black American style, that hit and don't get hit style. I like to see that. Even when I used to box, I didn't used to fight like that. I used to fight with more of a the high guard walk forward type shit. You know, but I believe that even I was wrong. I can even say I was wrong. I should have took more time and really fought. You know, took my time, got great legs and move around. You know, I believe in that Black American outboxer style, Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather type shit. You know what I mean? I don't believe in that. Let's just go toe to toe, mano a mano type shit. Yeah, let's see who the toughest. Fuck that. The goal is to get hit and not get it. Is to hit and not get hit. So yeah, Nate and Nick, they used to come in. I mean, they combination punching was ridiculous, ridiculous. They had some of the best. Probably they had the best combination punching in the sport that I've ever seen in the history of MMA that I could think of. The way that they would mix the body and head attack. Yeah, they throwing 8-9 punch combinations. You know what I mean? Good jabs on them. Yeah, they was really, yeah. If they had better legs, they would be untouchable. If they had better legs, they would be untouchable in MMA. They jiu-jitsu was nice, was high level. Yeah, you didn't want to go to the ground. They used to pull guard, jump and pull guard on you. So yeah, they had high level jiu-jitsu. If they had better legs and they wasn't so crash dummy is that a word? Crash dummy. If they wasn't so tough, they was too tough. I'm gonna say that they was too tough for their own good. To where they just diving into shit. If they wasn't so fucking tough, then man, they would really, I mean, sure. If they wasn't so tough, if they wasn't so tough, you know what I mean? They was too tough for their own good. And that's what, I feel as though it shortened their careers. Cause I mean, Nate should still be in MMA. You know what I mean? Nick and Nate, they should still they should be finishing up. Now, well, I guess they finished at the right time, but they did a lot of damage. I believe they took years off their life with that type of style. How I see the fight going. I'm gonna get into my Jake Paul rant in a second, but the fight, Nate, if Nate gonna stand in front of this guy like that, he going to sleep. If Nate gonna come forward with that swarming high volume style, I'm gonna get you before you get me style. Yeah, he going to sleep with this guy. He going to sleep with Jake Paul, gonna knock his ass out. I'm saying that right here. Jake Paul gonna knock his ass out. That's how I see that going. I see Nate Diaz getting stopped. Getting stopped. He too old, too many miles. And this kid is, and let me say this right now, I'm getting to my Jake Paul rant. Jake Paul kind of fights with that Black American outboxer style. Actually, he does fight like that. That's his style. He fight that Black American traditional boxing style. That, step around, make you miss type of style. He ain't that good at it yet, but that's what he's trying to do. And it's been working for him. Now let me take a look at his resume here. He fought Ali Issa Gibb. I don't even know who that is. I remember hearing about that fight, his first fight, but that just hearing about it, and let me do this. Let's talk about this first. I believe that he is good for the sport of boxing. He brings new eyes. He's a new face. He's a white guy. You know what I mean? He brings a white fan base that want to see him win. You know what I mean? That like they want to bring him, this is boxing. Boxing is racist. The world is racist. So, he brings a white fan base that want to see him win. So any eyes on the sport of boxing, as many eyes as we can get on the sport of boxing, I want to, no matter how we get him in there, that's my opinion. You know what I mean? Like he's not a guy that preaches hate. I don't think. I seen him playing with a big black deal though one time. Oh man, white men, let me say this for the record. White men have always been obsessed with the black man's dick. Always, ever since slavery. They have always been obsessed with the black man's dick, how big it is, a big black cock. They have always, and I'm getting that on record, saying that. This is, we can go back, we can debate that. We can debate that. I got proof. We ain't going, that's as far as I want to go with that. Yeah, I seen him playing with a big black dick one time, but that was weird. But let's keep it on the boxing. Okay. Yeah, he's kind of fighting. He's good for the sport. You know what I mean? He's cause you know, he's putting eyes on the sport of boxing. He's getting eyes on the sport of boxing. He's generating money in the sport of boxing. You know, you pick up new fans. Boxing gains new fans when he fights. Cause it might be somebody that's not into boxing. Family wasn't into boxing. Community is not into boxing, but he'll watch a Jake Paul fight. Wasn't he like a Disney kid or something? I don't know the guy like that. I just know he a reality TV star. But you know, and then people get bit by the boxing bug. He'll be watching Jake Paul fight and he'll get bit by the boxing bug and think he know, you know, what a jab is and what boxing is about. And he might watch a new fighter that he might like. You know, he might want to, you know, watch a new boxing match. He already watched it once. He get bit by the boxing bug. And shit, I'm trying to spread the boxing bug like COVID. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I want the whole world to watch my favorite sport. So yeah, I believe that he's good because he brings new eyes. For what he is, a guy with no amateur background, and this would be him and Nate Diaz would be his 8th fight. Damn. Okay, cruiser. So he 200 pounds. He a cruiserweight. Nate about to come in at 200 pounds. It's gonna be bad. Nate gonna get his ass knocked out. I'm telling you, mark my words. But yeah, they got him his rating on BoxRec is 1 star on BoxRec. He earned that. Yeah, 1 star. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's talk about okay, I'm gonna go over some of his fight. I seen this first fight, I didn't really see it. I seen highlights against the Gibb guy. I seen the Nate Diaz fight, not the Nate Diaz, the Nate Robinson fight for sure. For sure. That was a brutal knockout. Brutal knockout. Nate had no business getting in the ring with him. Nate had no business getting in the ring with him. Let me say this, right? I've been around the boxing community for a while. My whole life, really. I've been into boxing. Nate, you can't just hop into boxing being a good athlete. Nate Robinson can dunk a basketball. He like 5'8", something like that, 5'7". Not just dunk it, come between the legs and do all types of tricks. Amazing shit. You know what I mean? He made it to the NBA being 5 foot, under 6 foot tall. People that 6 foot tall still can't make it to the NBA. So he's an extraordinary athlete. Extraordinary. But that ain't good enough when we talking boxing. There's levels to this shit. Jake Paul been in the gym. Boxing, sparring, getting his nose bust, getting a puffy eye, getting stopped. He done been stopped in the gym. He been training with high-level boxers. He been training with low-level boxers, medium-level boxers, high-level boxers, and super high-level boxers. He been training. He been getting good work. You can't just throw this guy, put some gloves on this Nate Robinson guy, and then throw him in there with no Jake Paul. You can't even do that in a regular hole-in-the-wall boxing gym. If it's a good trainer in there, he's not going to let the guy with 10 fights spar the new guy. And if he is the guy with 10 fights, you better go real light on him. He don't know nothing. You will kill him. You can't just throw him in tough like that. You can't just throw him in tough like that. Like, you can't just do that, just throw him to the wolves like that. You can't just throw him in like that. Like, you can't put no guy that's been in professional fights against an amateur, not going full speed. Now, against a novice boxer with one fight, one amateur fight, you're gonna put him in there with a guy with 13 pro fights, 35 amateur fights. No, he gonna kill this guy. It's levels to this shit. Somebody that's been you could listen to what I'm telling you, right? I done been in street fights. Now I'm not I just been sparring a lot, going to the gym, training ever since I was a kid. I done won fights with body punches in the street. A guy he ain't expecting that. I'm looking at how you stand now. I know that you standing the wrong way. You right-handed and you fighting southpaw. I can recognize that shit now, just like off the dribble. Just from me training. Just look like this guy don't know what I'm about to do to him. I'm looking at you like you made a mistake today. Yeah, I'm about to crash you. And I done crash. I done won fights with body punches in the street because the guy didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing. It's levels. I know that my level higher than his. My level as just a guy that just been in gyms training, regular guy that just been in gym, my level higher than the average guy that ain't never had no gloves on, ain't never been in the ring, ain't never put no headgear on. He don't know. So it's levels to this shit. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's levels to this shit. So Nate Robinson had no business in there with Jake Paul at that point, but they threw him in. Even though that was Jake Paul's second fight and Nate Robinson's first fight, he had no business in there with him. The Ben Askren fight, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. Didn't he knock him out? I think he knocked him out bad, quickly. Hold on, let me see this. Yeah, he knocked him out. Yeah, it was a knockout. Yeah, it was a knockout. Ben Askren, I can't never say his name right. Ben Askren was a high-level MMA fighter. Well, he was high-level in Strikeforce or whatever he was doing, whatever the other promotion was that wasn't the UFC. He was the champion. He running shit over there. His all wrestling. Even that, he's been training MMA. He's been beating good MMA fighters. He's a decorated wrestler. A guy that's only training hands versus an MMA guy, the MMA guy lose every time. Every time. Every time. I don't know if I ever seen, not that I can think of. I don't know if I ever seen that. Seen a guy that's only been training hands, boxing, straight boxing, and then an MMA guy come over there and whoop. That's Mayweather McGregor. Mayweather carried McGregor around the ring like a baby. That was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. That was not competitive. Mayweather made it look competitive. He carried McGregor around the ring like a baby. He carried that fight. McGregor didn't know what the fuck he was doing in there. It's a different level. Even though McGregor trained hands. It's just a different level. That's like you throw an MMA guy in there with throw a boxer in a cage. He gonna get his ass kicked. James Toney, Randy Couture. It was too easy. That was the easiest fight of Randy Couture life. James Toney not even worthy to be Randy Couture's sparring partner. If Randy Couture had to prepare for a heavyweight championship fight, he wouldn't call no James Toney for what? Not to spar, maybe to show him a punch or something, but not to spar. And James Toney, one of the greatest boxers of all time. Can't do nothing in there with no cage. It's apples and oranges, but they put them together all the time because it brings the fans together, and it sells fights. You know what I mean? It sells. You know what I mean? You can, and they both combat sports. But it's really apples and oranges if you look at it. They both fruits, but it's two different types of fruit. It's just two different fruits. So Ben Askren ain't had no business in there with him either. Got his ass knocked out. Tyron Woodley. The Tyron Woodley fight. I remember that. Tyron did pretty good. But Tyron really couldn't do nothing. The second Tyron Woodley fight, Tyron got his ass knocked out. Disgusting. They said that was a fake punch or that was a fake setup fight or some shit. I don't think so. I don't think so. Why I think Woodley got knocked out the second time, because it was a short notice fight. Remember, he was supposed to fight Fury. He was supposed to fight the Fury, little Fury brother, Tommy Fury. He was supposed to fight Fury, and he had just beat Woodley by decision, and they called Woodley up last minute to save the card. Woodley ain't had no time to prepare, and this guy been preparing. So yeah, that wasn't really fair either. I mean, that's why they say he's in a lot of fake fights, because he's he fighting guys that ain't really boxers, but he ain't really a boxer. He's becoming a boxer. He has no amateur career. He getting to this late. He ain't really been raised in this. So like I feel as though for what he is, they matching him right. I'm not about to throw this $1 million ticket in there with no killer. Yeah, he had 200 pounds. I ain't about to throw him in there with one of them top cruiserweights that's coming down from 220 to make cruiserweight. Man, you crazy as hell. You crazy. And for real, cruiserweight is a weak division because it's not glamorous. It's like they like little heavyweights, so it's never been glamorous. You know what I mean? But them guys at cruiserweight is skilled. They don't get the credit that they deserve. I done seen some high-level cruiserweight fights. These guys high level. I'm not about to throw my guy in there with no killer. For what? And they ain't gonna generate no money anyway. Don't nobody. What's your favorite cruiserweight boxer right now? I'll wait. Yeah, don't Google it. Exactly. Ain't nobody checking for no damn cruiserweight. Nobody. They just not. They like, yeah, go to light heavyweight or go ahead and jump in the deep end. Don't jump in the deep end with them big tall killers, please. Stay where you at. Yeah, you right. Yeah, stay where you at. Just be a cruiserweight. But I ain't about to throw my guy in there with them. All right, now this is where we kind of get into, it's starting to, he took a next level. Anderson Silva did have some boxing experience. The Anderson Silva fight. Anderson Silva tested him. He tested him. He tested Jake Paul. And I was interested in that fight because I said, we gonna see. Even though Anderson Silva is old, Anderson Silva is an old MMA fighter. He did have some professional boxing experience 20 years ago type shit. But still. And he a high-level striker. So I felt like this would be a good test. Really, I took Anderson Silva. I said, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Because, I wasn't impressed with his other stuff. It was good stuff, but I just wasn't impressed with the guys. This is a good step up. Anderson Silva. He beat the brakes off Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva had him in the beginning. Anderson Silva always he one of them guys that like to admire his work. I always hated that about him. I really did. He liked to play around and do all types of, karate, play little games, and he paid the price. He paid the price because Jake Paul was serious. Jake Paul was bagging up, stepping around. He was looking good in that one. He was fighting with that Black American outboxer style. His trainer, Black American. He was fighting with that Black American outboxer style. Yeah, and that shit worked. And Anderson Silva started doing anything, and he got his ass whooped. You can't go in there playing with that type of guy. Yeah, you can't go in there playing. He's serious. He don't got a box. That's the thing. Jake Paul don't have to box. He really do like boxing. He really do like. He don't got a box. He ain't got a box to make no money. He Jake Paul. He ain't got a box to make no money. He ain't got to take no dangerous fights. He ain't got to be in there with that. But he really do love this shit. He gotta love it. He a prize fighter, and for what he is, he fighting the perfect guys for his skill level. Period. Even a guy that's been boxing, that's been boxing and got an amateur background in his his sixth fight, his sixth fight. It ain't nobody win those 6 fights fighting no Anderson Silva. They just wouldn't. It's too risky. It's too risky. If you was a amateur boxer and you was a real, well, I won't say real. If you was a professional boxer and they trying to bring you up through the ranks, it'd be risky. It would have been risky. That would have felt like a risk. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't have been. It would have been risky on both ends. On Anderson Silva's end, because it wouldn't have generated no money, and on the fighter that's coming up in. So yeah. I wouldn't have risked it. I mean, that nobody would have risked it, but that was a good fight, and he won. He deserved that win. Almost stopped him. Yeah, beat Anderson ass. That was a good fight, and that for me, that was when okay, he a real fighter. I seen him in some fire. He could have quit and still been Jake Paul, and he could have quit. You know what I mean? But he didn't quit. He stuck in there, and he won the fight fair and square. The Tommy Fury fight, I watched that one. Um, he uh he he got outboxed. He lost that one. That was a good fight, and he lost that. Going into that fight, I took Jake Paul. I don't know where Fury pulled this one at. Fury ain't never looked like that in none of his other fights. In Fury's other fights, he looked at what do I want to say? He looked at robotic. Yeah, he looked at robotic. Now I was not. I'm still not all the way clear because I don't be checking for this type of shit. That's that is Tommy Fury is Tyson Fury's little brother. Why he don't look like Tyson Fury at all? Why he don't look like their father at all? I don't know. That just I thought it was his cousin because they didn't look alike at all. The other Fury brother looked just like him. This guy, I don't know. I thought it was their cousin, but that I just that was just some weird shit that just popped in my mind. Uh, yeah, but Tommy Fury always looked at robotic when I watched his little couple fights. He always because I was excited. I said, "Damn, Tyson Fury got it's another Fury out here fighting." No, I didn't know this. Yeah, I like Tyson Fury, so I said, "Oh, this Tommy Fury guy. Let's take a look at him." And he just did not have the skill level of Tyson Fury at all. At all. I mean, at all. He looked at robotic and stiff and just not like. So I took Jake Paul. I don't know where he pulled this from. He been in the gym studying his craft, and he came out of nowhere with that one. Yeah, and he deserved it. So I guess the Jake Paul handler said we ain't gonna put you back in with him immediately, but we got to see that again. They're gonna have to run that back. But yeah, so who else can we get? Big name, big payday, bring some fans. Nate Diaz do got fans. People do want to see Nate Diaz fight. Jake Paul got to fight somebody else with a name, somebody that's gonna talk shit, somebody that can do that type of shit. So Nate Diaz, uh, that's the next fight. Um, Nate getting stopped. Nate getting stopped. Nate getting stopped. Nate getting stopped brutally. Nate getting stopped brutally unless Nate figured out a way to change his temperament and he gonna really box and sit down and box and sit on stuff and get out the way of shit. He gonna have to be getting out the way because that right hand on that kid Jake Paul, it's a missile. It is a missile. It is a missile. It's a missile, and it will detonate. Yeah, and he the perfect guy to. Yeah, this guy ain't been in the boxing ring. This is about to be a slaughter. This guy ain't been in the boxing ring. Yeah, he boxed. Actually he got great hands for MMA, but he ain't been in where that's all you can do. I can't grab you or nothing. I can't throw a little kick. Well, he never really was a kicker in MMA. He's throw that little cheap ass little calf kick, but you ain't. But everybody had to watch out for his jujitsu. That was his bread and butter. Them hands and that jujitsu. But you got on those small gloves. Now you got on these big ass gloves. Pretty sure, he spar. He spar. I heard Andre Ward said he sparred with him, and he said he gave him some good work. So I mean, but you can't stand in front of no guy with no missile. That ain't never worked out good for nobody but Tyson Fury, and he barely got away. He even went down and got up. He the only person in the world can get up from a Deontay Wilder missile. So you know what I mean? Like you don't stand in front of no guy with no missile. I can't see him changing his identity, and becoming in here and coming in here and out and being an outboxer and turning it into a boxing match. He gonna turn that shit into a brawl. That's what he do. He ain't never been in a fight that's not a brawl. So he gonna turn into a brawl, and I believe he gonna get his head knocked off. Period. That's my prediction with the fight. My prediction for the fight is gonna be manslaughter. Jake Paul manslaughter in about 5 rounds. If this an 8 rounder, yeah. I mean, it don't matter if it's. I've got 5 rounds, 6 tops, tops, tops. I can see Nate Diaz getting cut like he always do. He always getting cut, so I can see that opening up. You know, um, I can see it. I can see him hanging in there. He ain't gonna quit. I can see him getting beat up, then knocked out. That's how I see that going. God bless the pugilist.